He's just sitting patient though.
They're in 8th position when they came into the pits. And everyone's giving him the cutthroat signal. That usually means it's all over. John Smales.
Meantime, Alan Jones in the Komatsu Falcon has already been in the pits for his second stop, scheduled stop. Sensational time, less than 30 seconds. And the man who did a brilliant job in the car, Jason Bright. Jason, you did have one off.
Yeah, we had it off at turn 1 sort of halfway through the session. I was trying to wind the bias back to the front a little bit because we started to get a little bit loose in the back, and I locked the fronts and just dropped off on turn 1, but we got it back on. I think we might have lost one position, but luckily that was all we lost.
A lot of pressure on you today, especially taking over the car in the position it was in.
The guys have been great. Alan's been great, and the Stone brothers, they haven't put any pressure on me at all. They just said, like, get out there and try and bring it back. Do the best you can do.
You're looking forward to seeing the IndyCar driver come into Bathurst, or would you rather he stayed away?
Scott will do a good job. I mean, of course, I hope that I'd be able to race the car, but I mean, I got to say, Scott will come out here and do a good job. So,
good on you, Jason. Thank you.
Well, if Alan Jones and the Komatsu Pertec team get a podium finish, that young man deserves a big pat on the back.
Yeah, it was a really great driver. Remember the effect he had on a number of the teams with that drive down at Symmons Plains in absolutely atrocious wet conditions in the Shell Australian Touring Car Championship. Admittedly, he did have a very good tyre on the car, but that took nothing away from the courage and this is sheer aggression he showed in a very, very wet track condition. And Jones obviously noticed it there, and he's proven him right. Just a terrific job.
Well, the boss is back in the big seat. Alan Jones behind the wheel of the number 9 Komatsu Ford.
A little bit of battle damage on the front there too, I notice.
A bit of a dent there, isn't there, on the front?
Yeah.
We were talking earlier when Barry Sheen was talking to him earlier. Here's a spin by the Castrol Cougars. So obviously they've been able to get the car going again, return it to the pits, and bang.
Well, that shows the effect of those 2 layers of tyres, keeping the car off the hard earth bank. And there we are. She managed to fire it up and get it back in the event. So they're having a pretty torrid time. Look at that. She's just running out of a bit of steering control there too, signalling to the car behind to sneak up the inside. So there's the Shell Helix race score. Let's check it out for you. Murphy and Lowndes continue to lead, building on this fantastic win last year. Perkins and Ingles still in second, Faulkner and Percy in third, and the father and son team, Richards, in fourth. Hossick and Ella in fifth, moving up Bargwana and Noski sixth. Good one from the Young Lions. Gardner and Crompton in seventh, and Jones and Bright eighth after that stop.
That Scaife has gone off in the 05 Commodore. Back on through that mud pile there, and Scaife is just electrifying at the moment. He is the quickest car on the circuit by over a second, and well, obviously maybe could have just been pushing it a little too hard down out of Shell Corner there, going off the circuit. Neil Crompton is tucked in behind him. We go on board with Mark Scaife. Pictures via the HSV in-car camera. Mark just having a look behind at just how close that Coke Commodore is to him. Barry Sheen?
Yeah, I'm here with DJ. DJ Cole's gone in the garage. Wham.
Well, no, I was just going up the back straight and it lost a cylinder. So rather than tear up a 40 grand engine, I said, let's stop.
Yeah, when you came in, JB got in the car and then there was some sort of refueling problem.
We're actually due for the stop. I was only going to do another lap and then I was in, but it unfortunately didn't make it.
So she's dropped her lunch, basically.
Oh, yeah, but it won't be a problem in Bathurst, I can tell you.
Let's hope so. All right, best of luck in Bathurst.
Thanks, Bell.
You tend to put a bit of faith in Dick Johnson's words there too. The Shell team's record at Bathurst is absolutely sensational, and you can expect them to be a major force come October 19.
Primus 1000, that'll be a terrific weekend. Of course, the GTP, the Showroom Showdown, 3 hours of that on Saturday afternoon, then the big one on Sunday. Here's a good little battle. Glenn Seaton back out on the track after those problems with the brakes. But he's back at it, lap 115. We go on board with Seaton. The windscreen's O'Brien, in-car camera. The newly crowned Australian Touring Car Champ. As I believe it's still Charlie O'Brien sitting in there. Whoa, that's Trimble who's gone sideways. You were with Glenn Seaton. You saw it happen live. And Trimble just did a nice little pirouette off the circuit, coming onto the main straight. He's okay though, he gets going again. And they were doing very well. They're sitting in 12th position. They were in 12th position before that. Here's the replay.
Look at the replay again. Seaton just sneaking up the inside. Faulkner went in a little bit too hot. HSV replay shows a couple of pirouettes there, but it manages to keep the engine going and get back into the race. Back with Glenn Seaton, the Ford Credit Falcon. Windscreens O'Brien in-car camera takes you for a ride with the 1997 Shell Australian Touring Car Champion. Well, it must be a continual worry for Seaton. The continuing niggling engineering problems they have with the cars in endurance competition. As I said before, he's not had a glowing record at Mount Panorama since he set up Glenn Seaton Racing in 1989, even though he's taken 2 Australian Touring Car Championships in that time.
Well, Glenn's won here at the 500 at Sandown twice before, in 1986 and also 1990, both times with George Fury, both times in a Nissan Skyline. He's not going to get his 3rd win here today, that's for sure. He's a long way back. They too, like the Castrol Ford outfit with Tony Longhurst and Charlie O'Brien, they'll learn from today, and they'll take it into consideration, and they'll file away that feedback and use it to their advantage at the Primus 1000 October 19.
Check them out on the Shell Race Score. Murphy and Lowndes continue to grind the competition into the track. Perkins and Ingle in 2nd position. Richards moving up to 3rd as these pit stops start to take effect. Hossack and Ellery in 4th. Bargwanna and Noski move up to 5th. In 6th, Gardner and Compton, the Coke Commodore. Faulkner and Percy in 7th. Jones and Bright in 8th after their stop. Johnson and Baird in 9th. 10th, Longhurst and O'Brien.
You're watching a critical pit stop here at the Tickford 500, and a beauty too for the race-leading team of Craig Lowndes and Greg Murphy. Lowndes handing over to Murphy. He's jumped in the hot seat, and 20 seconds. That was right up there with the pit stops that they made to win this race last year. Fantastic stuff.
Right on the money, the Mobil HRT combo. Beautiful stuff. They rejoined the circuit. Greg Murphy is now behind the wheel. Alan Jones just trying to sneak up the inside. Gets a bit out of shape, and he's taken Murphy. So HRT with a lightning pit stop. In fact, the 3 fastest cars on the circuit before that pit stop were the 3 Holden cars. Here's a replay of an earlier incident. Lowndes making a mistake before he came in for that pit stop after the main straight on the Shell corner. He's just gone off onto the grass, not too bad, dug up a bit of mud, and then has been able to rejoin the circuit.
See, it really is the luck of the draw when you go across the countryside like that, isn't it? If you just hit the one wrong bump, you can hit the under tray and split the whole thing open. You've got to put a new front on. Those guys just went across the mud with all stuff flying everywhere. It looks like the bodywork's still hanging in there, so they really do have the luck on their side. Looks like Larry Perkins is at 11. Castrol Commodore, he is a lap down, but that's unlapped himself. So if they can get a pace car here, that'll be pretty good for Perkins. Put him right back in the event.
The combination of Perkins and Ingle, the Castrol Commodore, have been fairly quiet today. They've just been sneaking around, but they've been sneaking around very quickly. They've stayed out of trouble despite that. They had that one incident with Greg Murphy, Larry and Greg. They came together before the first pit stop. But other than that, everything's been pretty smooth. Barry Sheen, I believe you've got Craig Lowndes.
Yes, I have. That was a bit close, Craig.
Well, it was. It's a little bit treacherous out there. Like the conditions are changing. There's almost, well, the pretty is well now, a dry line. So hopefully Murphy can bring it to the finish.
Yeah, you went at 15 has just gone off again. I just heard it at the end of the straight.
Well, we'll have to look at that on the monitor. Hopefully we can get going.
He's back on. He's back on. I've just heard. Oh, it's a bit half stopping. This is anyway. It's a good bit of grass track, and then when they came in, they threw a lot of water in front of it. Why was that?
Well, unfortunately, just with the conditions, you get a lot of dirt pick up off from the cars where you're chasing them, and obviously the front windscreen gets very dirty. But me going off a few times, we've obviously picked up a few unwanted grass.
Yeah, it must be using the tyres well because they only put new rears on that front.
Well, they did. The car's been fantastic, actually. Obviously, Greg was out there in the full wet, and I went out, and it's just sort of in that change of going from full wet to a immediate dry. And the tyres we put on, we've been driving the car very straight, very smooth, and obviously it's working well.
So you've got full faith in the Murph?
Well, I hope so. Yeah, no, Murph will bring it home. He's, we've obviously had a hard day today, and it'd be great to come home with a win.
Well,
thank you.
There is a tremendous battle going on here. Have a look at this. Greg Murphy, the Longhurst Falcon on the inside. Murphy's gone high, and Seaton goes through as well. So Charlie O'Brien has got that Castrol Ford up into the top 10. Seaton sneaks up the inside. Seaton's back in 13th position. This is great stuff.
Well, Murph's taking a fair while to dial himself in here. This will be his second lap out of the pits. And you saw him go off on the grass there the first time around, so maybe having a trouble in the car. We'll keep an eye on it. Maybe he's just taking his time, knowing he's almost a lap up on the second place man. He's just, look at this, very, very slow through the corners. So hopefully everything okay aboard 1-5.
Well, I guess he just doesn't want to do anything wrong, Mark. He's just trying to feel his way back in, just ease it in nice, steady. The Holden Young Lions car you just saw go through screen there, Jason Bargwanna, just at the bottom of your screen there, is currently in third position. Those guys haven't stopped yet. Mark Noske due to get back into the car very soon.
We just heard word, watching Greg take a while to get up to speed there. He's having some trouble getting some temperature into those new rear tyres they put on that lightning stop. So Murphy's just taking things very easily. We hear also, if you need more drama than we've got already, it's just starting to rain again. You can see the wipers going on all the cars. Yep, look at that. Could turn into a torrent. Now, this is when you get a real drama on your hands, because there's guys out there on slick tyres or lightly cut slicks. And when the rain comes down, it is absolute bedlam.
Look at the Hossack Ellery car dumping a whole heap of gravel out onto the circuit. Now, that, I believe it's still Darren Hossack behind the wheel. Yes, it is Darren. He went off at the top there, so he rejoins the circuit. But like a lot of the other competitors today, they've been out in the grass and the mud and the gravel. He's been able to get the Wins Commodore back on track, driving for the Gibson Motorsport team now, teamed up with Steve Ellery.
This could be the boost up the ladder that the Perkins team need. They're running in second position, but almost a lap down on the Holden Racing Team Commodore. A few cars go off here and have to call out a safety car. It could put them right back on their tail. Interesting to watch this. If this rain continues, it'll be critical to the outcome of this race.
There's the 15 car, Greg Murphy. He is just easing it in. Lap 122 of 161. We'll keep a close eye on Murphy's progress here at the Tickford 500 on Network 10, your home of motorsport.
What a race, the 97 Tickford 500. This is the leader, Greg Murphy, pitting. And what an amazing pit stop it is, because they were leading by more than a minute. Now that is down to just 11 seconds. John Smales will tell us why.
The weather down here is turning atrocious. It's been bad all day, but it's getting worse. It is an ice skating rink out there. Greg Murphy has had to come back in and go for wet weather rubber. Realise they've been running on slicks that have been grooved. Now they've gone for the wet weather rubber. Glenn Seaton is about to do likewise, and I think this will be a rush of cars to the pits as the weather just gets worse.
Well, lap 124 of 161. You couldn't ask for a better Tickford 500. This has been great. We've been saying off air this has just been the best race so far, and it's going to get even better. Perkins now gets it down to 10.16 seconds. He is zeroing in on the Mobile HRT car of Greg Murphy.
It's going to be a real battle to the death, isn't it? Perkins, he just loved this situation. 10 seconds in closing on the Holden Racing Team Commodore. They've gone in for a new set of tyres. We'll find out pretty soon whether they've made the right call on the rubber and the cut they've chosen for these Bridgestones for the final run of the flag.
Well, shortly, I was looking on the last shot when we had a nice long shot on the back straight. Larry Perkins will be coming into view shortly if that gap between himself, Brock, Scape, the Brock car is in, and Peter Brock about to step into the car. Scape will get out. New set of tyres. Here he is, the king of the road, stepping in for his very last stint at Sandown International Raceway.
These guys still on 116 laps. Our leader on 124, way down the order, but still pushing hard. Brock wants to be in that car for his last run. Now Brock straight in front of this big Victorian crowd.
Lightning pit stop for the Mobile Holden Racing Team. Brock back out, and he comes back out behind Murphy. Currently 14th on the circuit. Brock will just feel his way back in. So at the moment it stands like this. Murphy, Perkins, Stephen Richards, John Faulkner, Alan Jones. Bargwanna has yet to pit. So the Holden Young Lions car has to come in. Likewise Hossack, likewise Crompton. Stephen Johnson is back in. And O'Brien in 10th also has to hand over to Tony Longhurst. That's yet to come.
Keeping our eyes peeled for Larry Perkins. He's brought it down now. It's under 10 seconds. 9.5 seconds. He's just itching away at the back of Murphy. Let's see if Murphy can respond. 9.5. You can see it there on the Shell Helix race score. Well, they had it out to over a lap. Boy, oh boy. What a thriller.
Just when it was starting, well, I was about to say starting to get a bit dull. It's never been dull. It was starting to die down a little bit and get a little bit more sedate. Now it's livened right back up. Larry Perkins in the Castrol Commodore coming right back into contention. We're looking back. There he is there, coming out of XR8 corner. So Larry very soon will be able to see Murphy up ahead.
Well, he's got a little bit of traffic ahead of him. Let's hope he can get them out of the way fairly swiftly and try and close in on the back of the 15 car. A 1:24.95 and a 1:24.30 for Perkins that time around, so he's taken half a second out of Murphy's time. Let's see if the HRT car can get up to speed on these new tyres.
Well, when I spoke to Russell Ingall yesterday, he said, oh, he's off!
Well, he'll be kicking himself, Larry Perkins. He was closing in hand over fist. Now he's had a spin. That'll cost him probably 30 seconds. So he's got it all to do. Boy, oh boy. The pressure is on. Well,
no damage to the car from where we sit. He's been able to rejoin the circuit okay. There'll just be a bit of mud and rubbish on the car, but no problem about that.
We'll be able to see the split for you on the start-finish line this time around as Perkins recovers yet. He's dropped down 32 seconds now behind car 15. Windscreens O'Brien driver profile. Larry Perkins, enormously experienced, 5 times the winner at Bathurst. Formula 4 champ here in 71, Euro Formula 3 champion in 75, and the Formula 2 title was his in 1972 as well. A lot of time in open wheelers early in his career, went on to become very much a touring car specialist, and as those 5 Bathurst victories will attest, the guy is very good at his art.
If you've just joined us here on Network 10, your home of motorsport, this is the 1997 Tickford 500, lap 127 of 161. We've had wet conditions, we've had drying conditions. We're now back in the wet conditions, and it's been probably as wet as ever. It is still Greg Murphy in the Mobil HRT car leads the way. Then we go back to Larry Perkins, who just had a little bit of a spin. Stephen Richards is back in the Valvoline Cummins Commodore. Alan Jones in 4th and John Faulkner in 5th. Let's have a look at the next 5. We go back 6 through 10. Marguana is yet to pit, likewise Hossack and Crompton. Stephen Johnson's there, and so too is Charlie O'Brien. More after this break.
Race updates brought to you by Windscreens O'Brien.
3 hours down in the Tickford 500. Craig Lowndes had extended his lead by more than a minute. Amazing performance. Scaife and O'Brien. Scaife playing catch up, and he and Charlie came to grief. Charlie, in fact, had a damaged under tray. He pitted for the 3rd time, unscheduled, and the crew tried hard to fix that problem, but it did cost them a lot of time. And the Longhurst team having all sorts of dramas there. The number 25 Falcon, that front spoiler just wouldn't stay on. Wynne Percy took the Faulkner car into 3rd place temporarily. Jason Bright, though, very quickly took over. A great drive from young Jason, backing up the Alan Jones Komatsu Falcon. A little nudge here as Scaife again playing catch-up from 10 laps down in the Brock Commodore. Parsons collides with him there. Scaife really dialing in a 1:17 lap at one stage. Very quick. Karen Brewer, though, having trouble as her car came to a dead stop, but the Cougars team managed to restart. More problems for Seaton and Parsons. They lost some brake fluid. The brake pads were worn so thin, a cylinder popped out of the calipers. Big trouble there as they made a very, very long stop. This race certainly not a good one for Glenn Seaton. He's looking ahead to Bathurst. Johnson also out of the race. His car losing power just before his scheduled pit stop as he was about to hand back to Johnny Bow. The Cougars were back on track for a short time, only to hit the tyre wall, and then they returned again. So a big race for the women drivers there. Lowndes and Murphy, a 20-second scheduled pit stop. Amazing stuff. They only changed the rear tyres. They weren't happy with them. Murphy came back, had some problems, then had to re-pit. Amazing stuff, but they lead now from Larry Perkins.
The action continues here at the Tickford 500. This is race leader Greg Murphy about to put a lap on 3rd place Stephen Richards. He can't do it that time around. Now we have some very important information to let you know about the race and its duration. Because of the slow start under the adverse conditions and behind the safety car, this race is either 161 laps long or it runs from 1 o'clock to 4:45. At the moment we are running behind schedule, so the race may be shorter than 161 laps. It might be 1:58, 1:59, but the race will stop at 4:45 p.m.
There's a lapse time in this race. We've just gone 3 hours, 3 hours, 7 minutes. Lap 132 of this thrilling 161 lap Tickford 500 from Sandown International Raceway. The weather continues to close in, and there's plenty more drama to come.
Larry Perkins has dropped, as we watch this battle, he's dropped another almost 15 seconds. He's now 43 seconds behind Greg Murphy, who is now challenging. Stephen Richards runs wide at XR8 corner, and Murphy goes through and puts a lap on him.
Yeah, that was pretty hard for Steve. You could see he was trying to give Murph racing room. He just ran out of road, got out on the really slippery stuff, managed to just gather it in and let Murphy through. But he still maintains his third position, but he's now a lap down.
So a good result despite that little bit of a mistake there. It's looking to be a good result for the Gary Rogers team. The Valvoline Cummins Commodore, they had dreadful luck last year, not only here at Sandown but also at Mount Panorama in the wet conditions. They weren't outspoken, they were just quietly confident. They said, we hope whether we've done all of our work, Mike Exel, Sherl, all the guys in the Gary Rogers team. They said, let's hope we can get a good result here this weekend, and they're certainly heading for that at the moment. Jones is still in fourth. We then go to Bargwana, Hossack, Crompton. We do believe we've had some feedback that those drivers have changed. They just haven't changed on our monitor, on our timing monitor. Faulkner's back in 8th, Stephen Johnson 9th, and O'Brien back in 10th.
Well, this is a great result for Gary Rogers Motorsport, particularly for Stephen Johnson, the young 24-year-old from Melbourne. He's only had 2 starts in the race. His best finish, in fact, was 17th when he ran a Porsche 960.